Hello my dear students, very good afternoon. Today we shall be discussing the Hindu newspaper, Saturdays as well as Sundays newspaper. I have included questions from the Sundays newspaper also, so we shall discuss straight away. Four PLA soldiers died in Galwan, says China. We discussed this news item plenty of times. In the month of June, Indian and Chinese armies were face to face at Galwan Valley in Ladakh. Indian soldiers bravely defended our land, fighting the Chinese soldiers, and ever since 1967, India lost lives in the eastern border. We lost 20 soldiers, and after almost 8 months of the incident, China officially came out by saying that it lost 4 soldiers, including a commander. So we were very sure that Chinese side also lost a few soldiers, but the Chinese government did not confirm the exact number. So after 8 months after the line of actual control clash between the armies, China confirmed that it lost 4 PLA soldiers, 2 including minor held for death of girls in Unnao. Unnao is in UP. Unnao has been in the news all these years, recent years, for terribly wrong reasons. In the latest incident, 1 girl died and 2 died, and 1 is in a miserable condition. The news is spilling out that a few young guys, including a minor person, is involved in the crime. So safety of women is still far away in India, and especially that is the case in UP. Continuous news of this kind is coming out from Unnao. Defamation as a crime. A criminal prosecution that is expensive and quick becomes handy tool to silence critics. Some judicial verdicts acquire emblematic significance far beyond the outcome of a particular case. The acquittal of journalist Priya Ramani of the charge of defaming M.J. Akbar, former minister and famous journalist. Former Union Minister, journalist and author, has protected and preserved the space for women who have found their voice in recent times to speak out about their experience of sexual harassment in the workplace. A conviction in this case would have had disastrous consequences for the many courageous women who have come out with disturbing revelations about the extent to which a large number of professions and fields in the country have been unsafe. So the Hindu says that this Hindu lauds this verdict. Had the verdict been on the other way around, then it would have disastrous consequences, says the Hindu. A very good article, you should read, and you must. Formula failure. The BJP's loss in the civic elections in Punjab is reflective of a deeper malice. We know that Punjab went for local panchayat polls recently, and BJP faced the wrath of people, lost many seats, and even its former ally Shiromani Akali Dal, they also lost their prominence, and Congress became the sole winner. The loss of BJP was miserable. That could be seen from the number of seats that it lost or won. Listen, we all know that Punjab farmers were fighting the 3 laws that the central government enacted, and for the past 90 plus days farmers have been protesting on the border of Delhi. They have been asking the government to repeal the 3 laws which they consider would not be in their interests, and now people have clearly protested against. This is the beauty of democracy. People get a chance to speak to the government what they want and what they do not want. Recently there was a proposal for one country, one election. The proposal was made by the Prime Minister that all the elections should be conducted simultaneously. Of course, it has got plenty of benefits. We know that the Prime Minister has spoken about it because the country is always in an election mode, either the general election or the state assembly elections or the local elections. So the governments get paralyzed because during these election times, and governments are always in an election mood. So democracy becomes very costly for conducting parallel election, many elections on different times, and that too by paralyzing the administration. So these are the reasons why Prime Minister mooted a one country, one election. But on the other side, what we have to say is that if elections are conducted simultaneously, one of the problems is that it offers almost a kind of a guaranteed 5-year term. But look at here, in the general election in 2019, the BJP won elections in a very big way, and people voted for BJP and they came to power. But now, after 1.5 years, people of Punjab voted against BJP in a very big way. So it is a signal to the political parties that people are against, and soon elections may be held in 2022. The elections are coming up in UP. Elections may be conducted in Haryana. So popular sentiments change, and it's a chance for leaders of democracies to understand the popular sentiment if elections are conducted at different intervals and not simultaneously. I was just sharing a thought of mine, just pursue the thought. Make private traders pay MSP, Kisan Sabha. Presently, MSP is paid by the government. Kisan Sabha moots the point that let private players also share the burden of minimum support price. Listen, the country's farmers are in a protesting mood, so as students of competitive examination, we should understand the pulse of what is happening. We should know the government view, we should know the views of the farmers, and whatever pieces of suggestions that come up to solve the issues must be read with an avaricious mind. NEP is a milestone to self-reliant India. In fact, I gave a question on NEP in the last class. The question I still remember: what is the share of GDP that the country plans to invest in education as proposed in the new education policy? It was 6%, I remember. Presently it is only 4.43% if my memory is anything to go by, but I am sure that in NEP the suggestion was to invest up to 6% of GDP in education. So it is very important. Read. Prime Minister Modi was speaking online to students of Vishwabharati University in Kolkata. US ready for talks on Iran deal. We know that the G5, the group of 5 permanent members, meaning USA, Russia, France, England and China plus Germany. So, P5 plus 5 plus Germany, these 6 countries negotiated with Iran and signed a peace agreement with Iran. Under the agreement, Iran decided not to pursue its nuclear ambitions, and Iran kept its nuclear developments under the supervision of IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, the UN's atomic watchdog. But in 2018, the Donald Trump administration unilaterally pulled out the agreement, and after which we could see a different Iran. Iran said that it would pursue its nuclear ambitions. But now there is a change in guard in the White House, and the new president said that it was ready, the US is ready for talks on Iran deal, and this must be welcomed, because in the world American hegemony cannot be accepted, rather it is negotiations which may bring the best possible deal. We cannot arm Iran with nuclear weaponries, so a peaceful Iran is very necessary for peace in the Central Asia. Government said to likely file appeal against Kane's arbitration award. We know that Kane, the UK company, won 1.2 billion in a tax case against India. It won an arbitration award which directed the government of India to repay $1.2 billion to Kane Energy in a retrospective tax case. The income tax department failed the case, and arbitration court has asked government of India to pay 1.2 billion. But now the negotiations are going on between the company and the government of India officials. No meeting point has been reached. Now the government says that it's barely thinking of moving an appeal against Kane on the award. New PSC policy envisages at most 4 strategic sector firms. In the recent budget, the government of India said, the finance minister said that even in the strategic sectors, the presence of public sector will be barest to minimum. This was a paradigm shift in the approach of the government. So even in the strategic sectors, the presence of public sector will be the barest minimum. Okay. So now she elaborates that new PSC policy envisages at most 4 strategic sector firms. Okay. The first question is given to you. Vijay Hazare Trophy is associated with chess, football, hockey, tennis, none of these. Vijay Hazare Trophy has been the news for certain changes in its format. Vijay Hazare. Yes, is it chess, football, hockey, tennis, or none of these? It was the news for certain change in formats. Yes, the answer is correct. It is the 5th option, none of these, and it is Vijay Hazare Trophy is associated with cricket. It is a zonal championship, cricket. The domestic grind resumes. 50-over format is not India's focus in 2021, but aspirants have plenty for it. Okay, just read. It's nothing much to read, but Hazare Trophy is given. Keep an idea. Second question, which country has introduced a bill, the News Media and Digital Platform Mandatory Bargaining Code Bill 2020, under which the tech and social media giants such as Facebook and Google will have to pay local news outlets for using their content. Facebook and Google are asked to pay the local news channels for their contents. If this bill is passed, then that will have global implications. The move is being viewed and studied worldwide, as it will set a precedent in the use of web-based news and content that may permanently impact the use of internet in Australia. Very good, the answer is it is Australia. I got the responses from all the students correctly, it is Australia. So this particular move by Australian government is viewed and studied world over, and this may set even a precedent in the use of web-based news and content that may permanently impact the use of the internet in Australia and of course worldwide. Australia and Facebook in talks over news ban. Australia and Facebook held high stakes talks on Friday after the social media giant sparked global outrage by blacking out news of its Australian users a day ago. Okay, Canberra insisted it wouldn't back down on a new law that would force the tech firm to pay for journalistic content. Okay, good that nations use their authority, a country is using its authority to have some control over techno giants. Of course, it should be a nice balance, it should not stop dissemination of information, but there must be a level playing field. This is the February 21 paper, Ease Path for Businesses, says the Prime Minister of India. The next question is given to you: which public sector organization has advised its workforce to convert their ATM and debit cards to RuPay powered cards? Is it State Bank of India, ONGC, Indian Railways, Air India or IOC? The organization has asked its employees to use RuPay card in place of Visa and Master. Alvin, Anaka, you are correct. Yes, it is the Indian Railways. It is the Indian Railways. Railway has got 12.54 lakh employees, a very big organization, the biggest employer of the country, 12.54 lakh, and its monthly payment is to the tune of 1,54,000 crore, 1,54,000 crore, lakh crore is the salary bill of railways. So a huge amount is disbursed by the railways, so it is going to be a big business. So RuPay card will be, RuPay powered card will be used by railway employees. Railways impetus a major boost for RuPay cards. In a major thrust to RuPay's increasing market share, the Ministry of Railways has advised 12.54 lakh workforce to convert their debit ATM cards to RuPay powered cards. The largest employer in the country pays 1,54,214 crore a year as wages to the salary accounts of its staff. So it's a big boost to RuPay cards popularity. Fourth question: the International Tennis Federation's Fed Cup is now known as, what's the new name for the Fed Cup? Is it Martina Navratilova Cup, or Billie Jean Cup, or Steffi Graf Cup, or Chris Evert Cup, or none of these? The Fed Cup is rechristened as the Fed Cup finals are postponed. That is why it has been in the news. Aishwarya says it is third option, or I don't know whether she is responding to the previous question. Anyway, the answer is the Billie Jean Cup. The new name for Fed Cup is Billie Jean Cup. The tournament was in the news for it getting postponed thanks to COVID. Okay, so Billie Jean Cup finals postponed again due to COVID-19. The finals of the Billie Jean Cup, the revamped Fed Cup, was scheduled to be held from April 13-18 in Budapest, and that has been postponed thanks to protocols in Hungary. Budapest is the capital of Hungary. My dear students, thank you very much for watching the program. I shall come again tomorrow at the same time with another newspaper and with a few questions, probable questions in the models in which questions are asked for all these exams. Make sure that you all read the newspapers very passionately. That is what is going to make the difference. I request all of you to make your comments in the YouTube against this program, and that will be a chance for us to learn from any probable mistakes that you would commit, or otherwise it will be a great encouragement to us. Thank you very much. Have a nice time ahead of you. A wonderful week is wished. Goodbye.